guys. I've been putting off making one of these because I keep getting home after dark, and as you can see the reflection of the monitor like that in my glasses when it's this late. Um, but I decided I was not going to care about that too much and just make one of these anyway. Um, so nothing really interesting has happened lately, but I actually wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And it's something that I've been thinking about on and off for a long time now. But just this week, one of my friends started, or I had a conversation with one of my friends that made me think about this some more. And it's this idea I have that most of the stories, whether it's movies or books or whatever, or even just stories we tell each other, the stories that we think of as good stories or interesting stories, or the ones that are fun to tell or listen to, aren't actually stories about good things happening. A lot of the time they're stories about the worst things happening. I think about a series of books that I really like, the Song of Ice and Fire. First book is the Game of Thrones. People a lot of times just call it the Game of Thrones series. But there's a lot of awful stuff that happens in them, like murder and betrayal and lots of bad, evil things. But we still read them and enjoy the stories. We say, oh my gosh, this book is so much fun to read, or at least I've said things like that. And it's sort of disturbing to think about. And, there's things you can say about the value of fiction as something other than a representation of things that we want to aspire to and so on, which I think is actually fine as far as that goes. But I find this fact that we're sort of fascinated by stories of terrible things really disturbing, not in and of itself, but when I think about this tendency that at least I have, and I think that a lot of other people have, to think about your own life as a story, where you get to be some weird combination of protagonist, author, and narrator. Um, because if we are thinking about our lives as stories and the choices we make as sort of things that drive our story, and the stories that we think of as being good or interesting stories are actually stories of awful things usually, or at least bad things, um, couldn't that be really, or couldn't that lead to just some really bad decisions or really bad values in our own life if we're sort of trying to live a good story and be a good character instead of trying to live a good life and to be a good person? Um, so I think the combination of these two things, the fact that a lot of people think of their lives as stories, and the fact that most people seem to think that better stories are stories that aren't actually happy stories. I think that combination of ideas is sort of disturbing to consider. Um, so yeah, that's all I've got for now. I'm going to go take a shower and cut my hair or something. Um, so good night, I guess.